Hello, my divers, and welcome to another episode of Diving Deep with me, Des. Today, it's just me, guys, and I'm going to be giving you a little life update and a few story times that kind of tie into my current life updates. So, whenever you're ready, go ahead, grab a snack or maybe two, sit back, and let's get ready to dive. Okay, y'all, so first things first, I got a new car. And it's kind of insane because I knew I was going to get a car this year. I told myself from even last year that I was going to get my new car this year. Um Except I didn't expect to get it so soon. I told myself that by Christmas of this year, like I would get my car. That would be like my Christmas gift to myself. Um, and thankfully, I was able to get that way sooner than I anticipated getting it. Um, so I traded in my little Chevy Sonic. It was a 2012 Chevy Sonic, and that little guy got me everywhere, honestly. I got him for $1,000 off Facebook Marketplace. Um, and yeah, me and Sonic, we really took on the road. And then, so yeah, I traded him in, and now I have a 2023 Mazda. The goal for myself was a 2024, but 2023 is still good. I'm really proud of myself. Um, I have been working my ass off to like save up so that I could have like a good down payment. And I worked with my dad, and he helped me like work out my budget and um, helped me build my credit over the last few years. And yeah, I was able to get my little Mazda. I went through CarMax. Honestly, I would recommend CarMax, guys. I recommend the one in Naperville. Hit up Mo, tell him we sent you. He's amazing. CarMax is honestly really good. Granted, they're used cars, but like really good deals. They have really good like their maintenance insurance type thing is actually really, really good. So yeah, man, shout out Mo at CarMax in Naperville. Check him out, guys, if you're looking for a new car. Um, but yeah, so let's talk about my driving history actually. So I, like most kids in the country, got my permit when I turned 15, and I took the driving course that Leiden provided for us. And so I took that during the year, and then I took the actual driving portion of that summer. My teacher was Mr. Liu, and it was me and two other students. And yeah, we would just drive around. Most of the time, it was us doing errands. Like, I remember one time, Mr. Liu was like, "Oh, I have a barbecue this weekend. Like, I need to go get some burgers and stuff." So I drove us to the Marianos in Elmhurst, and we got him burgers and stuff. And then I remember we like dropped him off at his house. We met his dog. Yeah, and then like on the last day, he like had us drive to La Michoacana, but not the one that's across from Leiden. It was a different one. And he like bought us ice creams and stuff. It was really cute. Um, I don't know. I would say my driving experience with Mr. Liu wasn't the best, only because he would tell me to like merge lanes and like make turns at the very last minute. And granted, he's like teaching us to like be prepared and stuff, but when it's my first time behind the wheel, like that's pretty stressful. And like the two other students was with, they already had driving experience and I didn't. So I was like stressed as fuck. I remember like when I was pulling into the Leiden lot one day after class, I like bumped a curb. Like, yeah, it was not it. And then I like my mom would help me drive like when I was on my permit, my grandma would, my uncle Polly would. And I remember one time I was driving us to my apartment. It was me and my uncle Polly, and we were he asked me, he's like, oh, like, do you want to get some food before I drop you off? And I was like, sure, like, let's just go to McDonald's. It was right there at the corner of my apartment. And so he had me drive to McDonald's, and I almost ate shit in the parking lot. I was driving in the drive-thru, my first time ever going through a drive-thru, and I was driving us, and I almost crashed into the McDonald's building. I remember I had to literally pull into the parking lot, and I don't even think we ordered. I don't even think we got the food. Like, it was me, like, pulling up to order, and I remember literally I almost crashed into the building, and I got so stressed. I pulled into the parking lot, and I made him switch with me. And I remember not driving for a long time after that. Um, just because I was so, like, traumatized. Like, that is scary. Driving is really, really scary. And yeah, and then I was able to get my license the weekend of homecoming my junior year. If you know, you know, I was not in the right mindset to get my license that weekend. So I just never got my license. My permit ended up expiring. I didn't get my license, guys, until I was 19 years old, which is kind of late in the game, in my opinion. But yeah, so then I got my license at 19, and then a few months later, I think, is when I found Sonic. My grandma actually helped me find him on Facebook, because I didn't want, like, a new car. I mean, I did, but it was my first time ever driving. Like, it was gonna be my first car, and I feel like every kid should have, like, I mean, 19 is not really a kid, but I think everyone for their first car should just get, like, a shitty little beater that you can learn in, and if it takes you from point A to point B, like, you're set. And that's what Sonic was for me. And I actually almost ended up with another car. It was like a big, like, purple, I think it was like a GMC or something. I don't remember, but it was like on a sketchy side of town, and we were just going to see it and see, like, how we felt about it. But again, it was on a sketchy side of town. And so I remember me and my grandma pulled up, and we're, like, waiting for this guy, and he was the one that told us what time to come, where to meet and stuff, and he didn't pull up. And so we were like, okay, well, we're not going to sit here and wait for you all day, like, we're leaving. And I remember I went home. Well, my grandma dropped me off at home, and then I want to say, like, an hour later, she was like, hey, like, I'm here, like, let's go. And I was like, where are we going? And she's like, oh, I'm gonna, like, let's go look at this car. And it was actually like three yeah, like 3 blocks away from my house. And this lady was selling Sonic, and she wanted 1,500 for it. And my grandma was like, we looked at it. My grandma, like, kind of knows about cars because my grandpa was a mechanic. So we were, like, looking at the car. I don't know jack shit about cars, so I'm just looking like, oh yeah, like, it has an engine, like, that works for me, you know? And so we're, like, looking around the car, and my grandma's like, okay, yeah, like, we're gonna call our mechanic and see, like, what they say about it. And she's like, okay, yeah, cool. So then we get in the car, we, like, drive around the block, and my grandma's like, okay, this is what we're gonna do. She wants 1,500. We're gonna knock it down to 1,000. Like, we're gonna tell her that our mechanic that we didn't fucking call said that, it needs some work, and the work just, like, doesn't make it worth 1,500. Like, we'll give you 1,000 for it so that we can get the work, whatever. And what also helped was that this lady, like, you could tell she wanted to just get rid of this car. So we, like, drove around the block, I want to say, like, 2 times while she was telling me this, and we're like, okay, yeah, cool. So then my grandma, like, texted the lady, and she's like, okay, yeah, like, we're coming back. And then I left that day with Sonic. I drove him home. Um, he wasn't the cutest car. He definitely had, like, some rust spots, and he definitely needed some work. But I mean, $1,000, no car payment. Like, what? Sometimes the cars off the streets really are, like, kind of worth it, honestly. So yeah, Sonic was my first car, and then like the next, I think that weekend we went to go get like the plates and registration and stuff, so I could actually drive them. And then yeah, I drove him around. This is when I was working at the movie theater and at Goodwill. So like I was working my ass off trying to like save up and buy a car, and then I ended up buying him. Yeah, my little Sonic. So this is when I was 19. Um yeah, and then I drove him for a few months. And then that following summer when I was 20, I want to say it was in April of 2 years ago, 2022, April of 2022, I actually got my first ever speeding ticket. And I was like freaking out because I'm scared of everything, but I'm definitely scared of cops, especially after like all the stuff was happening with like police brutality. I was fucking scared. I've never been pulled over by cops before. I never had to deal with cops before. So I remember I like FaceTimed this girl Nadia because that's who I was on my way to go link up with. And I was like crying because I was like I don't want to die. Like what's going to happen? And then but I also was kind of rude, I'm not gonna lie. Like, I remember when the cop pulled me over, I was like, what? Like, what do you want? And then she was like, girl, like, don't be rude to the cops. And I was like, no, you're right. Like, let me not fucking die here in Schaumburg. Like, what the fuck? And that's the thing, too. I was on the highway, like, 15 minutes away, and I was like, oh my god, seriously? Like, of course this would happen to me, you know? And so I got my first speeding ticket. I was going like 100 in like a 60 or something. No, it wasn't even like that. Let me not lie. I actually have the ticket somewhere. But I definitely was going like 15 over the speeding limit, which, like, it's the highway. I was in the leftist lane. Like, what do you expect from me? And I remember, oh, yeah. And I remember him like he was riding my ass, and this is like before I even knew he was a cop. He was riding my ass, and I was already trying to slow down, but I couldn't hit on the brakes because then like what if they crashed into me? And I remember him pulling me over and be like, "Do you know how fast you're going?" And I was like, "Do you know how fast everyone else is going? Like I'm not the only culprit here." And then that's when Nadia was like, okay, girl, like, chill, like, relax. But I was like, dude, like, it's the highway. Do you know how many people are going, like, 15, 20, 30 over? Like, come on. And then you're riding my ass. So even if I wanted to slow down, I couldn't slow down. Fucking asshole. And then I want to say in. So this was in, like, April. And then I want to say in August? I want to say in August, I got another speeding ticket because I was driving from Michelle's house to school. Oh my god, wait, no, that was my. Okay, actually, let's start over. So then in August, yes, I was training for marshals at Rockford, at the Rockford location because that was our nearest marshals. And they had me doing closing shifts knowing I lived like 45 minutes away from Rockford. Like I'm just a wee little girl. Why would you send me in the dark like that? So did a closing shift at Marshall's, and I started to drive my ass home, and there was construction at the time, and I had my brights on. I didn't see any other car. It was literally just me on the road, and I was speeding, and he claims that I was speeding 15 miles over, but that's a fucking lie. That is a lie because I looked at my, what is that called? Like your odometer, your speedometer, whatever the fuck tells you how fast you're going. I constantly was looking at that after my first ticket. So I know for a fact I was not going 10 to 15 miles over, maybe 7 miles, but not no 10 to 15, especially in a construction zone in the dark. Like, I'm dumb, but I'm not that dumb, you know? So that was a fucking lie, but he gave me another ticket, and I started crying because I was speeding because I had a 45-minute drive home and I had to pee so bad. Like, I literally almost pissed myself as he was taking his sweet ass time to write me up this fucking ticket. And so I was kind of a little snarky to him too because I almost pissed myself. Like, I literally almost pissed myself. And then I like had to drive like fucking 10. I drove like so close to the speed limit. Like, after that, like, I wouldn't even go 1 mile over type shit. But then in September, I was driving to school from Michelle's house, and this was in the morning, and I was speeding because I was going to be late to class, and the cop pulled me over, and he's like, "Oh, like, where are you going?" And I was like, "To school." And he's like, "Okay, I'm gonna be quick so you're not late, okay?" And I was like, "Okay." That motherfucker is a liar. He took like 20 fucking minutes just to write me up this, oh my god, imbecile. So I didn't even go to school because I was already gonna be late. And so I just took my ass home and I got high and I just like, fuck everybody, you know? But what I didn't know was that, because I was under 21 at this time. What I didn't know was that if you get 3 speeding tickets under the age of 21, that they'll suspend your license. No one ever told me that in driving school. And also, I had paid all my tickets. So I thought that only happened if you didn't pay your tickets. And I also didn't know that you could only get a certain amount of speeding tickets before they suspend your license. Because if that's the case, then why are speed limits so fucking slow? Like, what the fuck is that? So, I ended up getting a letter in the mail in December saying that they were going to suspend my license for 9 months. 9 months I had my license suspended. That is a whole entire pregnancy. 9 fucking months I had my license suspended. And you know what day they decided to suspend my license on? Fucking December 24th. Merry fucking Christmas to me, I guess. Who suspends someone's license for 9 months on Christmas? And I was under 21. Like, I'm just a wee little girl. Like, what the fuck? That was such bullshit, dude. So, yeah, I had my license suspended for 9 fucking months, a whole ass pregnancy. And it was so, oh my god, like, literally I was in the fucking trenches. I had to have my mom and my grandma and my dad take me to work like I was fucking 15 again. So embarrassing. It was so embarrassing. Oh my god, I hated that shit. And my friend Eric would always make fun of me because I didn't have a license, and so I would have to have him take me to work too. Oh my god, like, I felt like Amish, honestly. Like, I don't understand. It was the longest 9 months of my whole life. And also, imagine having your license suspended for 9 months while you're in a medium distance relationship. So, shout out Michelle. Michelle would literally come drive an hour and a half to come pick me up and take me back home with with her for just the weekend and then drive me back on Monday. Like, oh my god. Oh my god, that is love. That is love. If that was anybody else, I'd expect them to tell me to fuck off. Like, I would have accepted that, you know? Oh my shit, yeah. And then, so, when I turned 21, I had to get a fucking state ID. Because, like, clubs and bars and shit now are so strict that, like, you can be 21, but if your license is up and down still, like, some places won't let you in, they won't let you drink or anything. So, because I turned 21, I wanted to be at the clubs, I wanted to ask, I had to fucking get a state ID, like, if I was 16. Hello? Like, what the fuck? Like, do you know how embarrassing it is to pull up to the club, 21, freshly 21, and not even be able to take, like, your cute little license picture or anything, like, show them your state ID. Oh my god, that was the most humbling experience of my life. And you bet your fucking ass I never sped after that. I literally would drive like driving Miss Daisy. I would drive the fucking speed limit. Sometimes I would even drive under the speed limit. Like, it would take me sometimes 2 hours to get to the city rather than an hour and a half. Like, Oh my god, guys, that was the worst time. 0 out of 10, do not recommend getting your license suspended. If you want to speed, speed, but don't get caught like me, especially not 3 fucking times. I had to take like a driving school, and I remember I took this driving school and I signed up for it, right? And then it got switched to online, to be an online class. Mind you, I had to pay like $100 and something for this stupid ass fucking class, right? So this class turned into online, and I was trying to be outside, okay? So Michelle and I and Michelle's brother Rich, we went to a, ¿cómo se llama? Like a botanical garden type thing that's in Rockford. And I remember my parents were going to Rockford because my dad was donating blood and my mom just wanted to shop. So I went to Rockford with them, and I had Michelle meet me and my mom at Old Navy. And then me, Michelle, and Rich, we went to the botanical garden place. It's called Nicholas Conservatory. It's actually really pretty. It's where my parents took their wedding pictures. But yeah, so we went there, and I was on the I was on my Zoom. I woke up and logged into my Zoom, and on my way to Rockford with my parents, the driving teacher person was like, "Are you in a car?" And I was like, "Yeah." And he's like, "Why are you in a car?" And I was like, I'm going on a road trip. Like, I don't know. Cause bitch, why is it your business where I'm at? And then he's like, "Why?" And I said, "Well, I'm not driving. Like, I'm in the back seat. Hello." And he's like, "Well, what would you have done if this class was in person?" And I said, then I would leave later. Like, I don't know. Like, I would leave later. That's the solution. "Well, why are you in the car? You're supposed to be blah, blah, blah." And I said, "Sir, I paid $100 and something to be in this class, and then it got switched to a Zoom. So essentially, I'm paying $100 and something to be on a Zoom call with you. I'm gonna take this call from wherever I want to." And then he just got on with the call, and I just had it like playing. I was not paying attention at all. I would sometimes like participate because no one else was participating, but because I wasn't paying attention, I would just sound like a dumbass 9 times out of 10 because not paying attention, I don't know the right answers. And yeah, that was so fucking annoying. And then like when we got to the botanical garden, like my phone was dying, so then I had to like plug it in, and then I'm like carrying my phone and this like carry on charger. Like, oh, it was just a whole thing. But then I was able to get my license. I want to say I went like 2 weeks after that. Yeah, I think something like that. And then yeah, I've had my license ever since. And so for those 9 months that I didn't drive, my mom's van stopped working, so she was driving Sonic. So then once I started driving again, I had to give her rides to work. It was just like a whole thing, man. Like, it was a whole thing. And so then yeah, and then my mom got a car for Christmas. She got a car finally, thankfully. And then so she got a new car, and then I was still driving Sonic. Sonic, like, he got me through it, but he was also kind of scary in the sense that sometimes I could have sworn that like we were gonna blow up in the middle of the highway. Like sometimes he would just like start getting smoky and smell like burnt, and it was just really not safe for me, for my passengers. Like that was just not really it. Um, but now I have Miles Mazda. I named him Miles because I love Spider-Man, and I love is it called onomatopoeia, where like diving deep with Dez, DDD, Miles Mazda MM. I love when things are named or like worded with the same letter at the beginning of each word. Is that onomatopoeia? I don't know, but that's my favorite. What is that even called? My favorite form of vocabulary? Is that what you would call it? I don't know, but that's my favorite. So yeah, my Mazda is named Miles, and he's a 2023, and me and Miles versus the world. So yeah, guys, me and Miles, man. Um, I feel like I'm talking too fast, but I'm just so like, ooh, like let's get it. So yeah, I got a new car and I've just been working. I've been doing this little pod, the little show. Oh, speaking of work. Okay, for starters, I'm gonna just say trigger warning. This next topic I'm gonna talk about involves sexual harassment in the workplace. So, trigger warning, skip ahead if you must. You can log off now if you must. So yeah, do what you gotta do. So basically, back in, I wanna say November. Back in November, I reported a coworker of mine for being a fucking creep. And when I say creep, I mean he would follow me around the parking lot at work. He followed me once to the grocery store that's across the street from our job. Um, I said, "Oh, hey, like I'm gonna go get a donut. Like, do you want a donut or anything?" And he's like, "Oh yeah, like I'll come with you." And I was like, "Okay, sure." So I go to get the donut. He doesn't get anything while we're there. It's one of those like bakery-esque places where you have to like lift the door to grab the bread you want. So I lift the door, grab my donut, except he stands so fucking close to me that I couldn't even like bend over. I had to like turn to the side and yeah. And so he would follow me around work and he would seclude me in corners of our work area. Like, yeah, guys, like I would be like talking to him from like across the room, and then he just like slowly get closer and closer and closer. And this is like a tall man. Like he's like retired like 3 fucking times, but he's like 6 something. Like this motherfucker is built like Slender Man, I'm not gonna lie. So he would like hover over me while and like I'd be like in the corner like trying to like scoot away from him, you know? And he just definitely did not know personal space. And I know for a fact that I'm not the only person that's had these issues with him. And I remember one day, like this other lady who's had problems. Oh, my work is like a whole thing. And so this other lady that I had to report for being actually insane, she tried to report me back one day, claiming I wasn't wearing a work uniform, even though I literally had my work polo on. If you know me, you know I'm not just gonna decide to wear a polo. Like, obviously, I'm wearing the work polo. Like, ew. And she tried to report me once saying I wasn't in uniform, and then like my manager or my boss emailed me like, "Oh, make sure you're wearing uniform," and I was like, "I am, you fucking." And so that was the whole thing. And then I remember like one day I was like ranting to this guy like, "Oh my god, like this bitch reported me, like it's so annoying." And he's like, haha, yeah, like, you just, like, if you're wearing a sweater or something, I guess just make sure you can see our logo, whatever. And I was like, yeah, you're right. The next day, I'm sitting, and he comes up to me, and he goes, Bible on everything I love. He goes, right here, grabs my hoodie, and goes, oh, let me just make sure you have our work uniform on. Ha 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 ha. I literally I froze. I froze. Call me Elsa the way I was fucking frozen. Because, first off, why are you touching me? Why the fuck are you touching me? Secondly, why do you feel the need to touch me that close to my lady bits? You can see. You wear glasses. I know you can see that I'm wearing a work uniform. You did not need to touch me. And and he would just make like very inappropriate, like innuendo jokes all the time. Like it was the whole thing. So I reported him to my boss. And she was like, oh, well, he doesn't mean it that way. Like, he's just like that. He's so nice. He's so nice. He's just like that. And instead of them doing anything about him, I'm the one that got removed and transferred to a different place. Mind you, we work with children. We work with children. Let me say that one more time. We work with children. And I mean Head Start aged to high school age children. These are students. These are kids that we work with. And I worked with him for maybe 3 days. Maybe 3 days. And from the very beginning, I knew something was off about this man. I mean, I'm very intuitive. I can read through people. I don't know how many times I have to like say that. And it's not even like me sucking the fart out of my own ass. And so I knew from the very beginning something was off. And I would always get like this weird feeling in the pit of my stomach. Like this isn't right. You know what I mean? And seeing the way that he would like some of the things he would say to the students, or just the way he would look at the students, like something was off there. So when he started like being weird towards me, I was like, yeah, something is definitely off here. You know what I mean? And so for me to like report that to my boss and her just be like, that's just him. He's just nice. He just doesn't know personal space. As a 60-something-year-old man, you need to know personal space. And if you don't know personal space, I have no issues showing you what the fuck personal space is. You know what I mean? I have no issues having my dad show you what personal space is. You know? Yeah. So after that, I'm the one that got relocated. Okay? And then recently, and when I say recently, I mean back at the beginning of the month. So my job has like an end of school year, like get together, whatever, right? And I've already mentally established with myself that the people I work with are not people I need to be mingling with outside of work. If it's not work related, I don't want to see you guys. I don't want to talk to you guys. If I'm not getting paid to interact with you, I'm not down. You know what I mean? So a few weeks ago, our treasurer emailed us and she's like, hey, we're planning the employee get together. Like, let me know if y'all are down. We'll cover this and this. But any alcohol, you have to cover yourself. And we're like, okay, cool. No one replied. So then our union president, who's literally a joke and not even a funny one, he replied to the email chain and was like, hey guys, you guys need to be answering her so that she can keep track of who's going. And I was like, okay, fine. You want an answer? I'll give you an answer. So my response to the email chain of everyone in our department, minus our bosses and stuff, I replied, definitely not interested, with a white heart emoji, because if you know me, you know I love a good white heart emoji. And definitely not interested. Thanks, but no thanks. Easy pass. Easy pass. And then, as more people are replying to this chain, one man who I never have heard of, never have met, never have seen in the 8 months that I've worked here, replied to me, just me. Okay, mind you, we're in an email chain. And I know when you go to type an email in an email chain, it gives you the option to reply all, or forward, okay? This man emails just me, and I quote, I'm going. I can't promise I'll behave. ... So obviously, I screenshot this and I forward it to my boss because, bitch, I just told you I'm not going, first off. Second off, why the fuck of every single person in this chain would you choose to reply to me? And, like, I miss the days when men would go to war and die. Truly, truly, truly. Cancel me. I miss the days when men went to war and died. And why do men speak? Speak when spoken to. As a man, speak when spoken to. You know what I mean? Like, ah! So I sent this to my boss. And she's like, I don't think that he meant to send that to just you. But regardless, it's inappropriate no matter the targeted audience. Which, true! True! Yes, I agree. It's inappropriate. Especially as a white old man. You're a creep. Saying something like that, you're automatically classified a creep. I already have a stigma against old white men, and then for you to just continue, you're a creep. And so yeah, so then nothing really comes about it, right? Until yesterday. Yeah. So yeah, I work with special needs children. I try not to be like so like, oh, what does she do? But at the same time, I don't want to dox myself. So let's say this. I work with special needs children. It's a group of 7 of them, and I work with 2 other people. So it's the 3 of us and the 7 of these children. 6 of these children go to one school, and 1 of the children go to a different school. Their spring breaks are switched. So this upcoming week, my one student, he will no longer be on spring break while the other 6 are on spring break. So when it's just this one student, it's just me and another worker that deals with just this one student. So I get an email saying that my coworker, who I usually would work with, has decided and volunteered to help them in a different area, which is fine, you know. I don't mind. But in her place, they would be sending me to work with someone else. Does anyone want to take a gander who the fuck they're trying to have me work with? Does anyone want to take a gander? Anyone? Anyone? I'll fucking tell you. This fucking creep that sent me that email via my work email is who they decided to try to partner me up with out of every single 70-something people in my department. Yeah. So, obviously, that's not going to fucking slide with me. And so I emailed, this isn't my boss, mind you. This was my direct supervisor who's in charge of our special needs department, right? And I replied and I said, hey girl, this is not going to work. Not going to work. I refuse to be alone with him, especially because where they were trying to send us to, like, again, I'm not trying to dox myself or over-explain my job. But basically, the area that we would be working together in, there is no cameras in that area. Okay? No cameras. It would just be him and I and this student who is mute. He does not talk. He is nonverbal. Why would you even think that as a thought? Good thing you do not get paid for thinking, because why would you think that was a good idea to subject me to without asking me? You know what I mean? So obviously not gonna work. And I told her that's not gonna work, and she said, make it work. She basically told me, make it work, or you can be transferred and work with other people doing other things. So I screenshotted that email and I sent it to my boss. I texted it to her and I said, this isn't fair. This isn't fair. And I said, I should not have to be the one to be relocated. And I said, this isn't fair. I established multiple times in my text message, this is not fair. This isn't fair. Because why am I the one that has to be relocated, but he's the creep? And that's the thing. My job has continued to take the side of the creeps over me. And I know for a fact I'm not the only person that they've been fucking weird to. And also, this creep from the email, his wife works with us. Does she know you're being a creep? Does she know? Because we can let her know, and I don't mind doing that. And my boss, rather than her having my back and my side as a boss and as a woman, she basically agreed and said, no, you're gonna have to be relocated for that.
Weak.
You know where I'm gonna relocate myself to? That
Weak.
my fucking bed. My fucking bed. I will not be going in, and I'm not sorry. I don't care if you're understaffed. You're telling me of all 70 something people that work with us, that's your only option? Really? My fucking ass, that's your only option. So, I will not be going into work that day. And I will be speaking to HR because this, again, like I said, is now the second time a creep has been able to get away with being a creep. So I will be speaking to HR. And depending how that goes, I've also considered going to our local media. And it's not even okay. I know this kind of may seem like I'm doing the most over like an email, but the email and the other guy back in November, they're two different events. And this is now two events that my bosses and supervisors have tried to brush off, and that's just them. They don't mean it that way. They don't mean they do mean it that way. And as people that work with kids, you should know they mean it that way. And as women, you should know they mean it that way. So if HR gets me nowhere, I will be taking this to local media and local news. I have been on our news before. I know how to get myself on the news. I also know how to get my voice listened to. So if that's what it takes for there to be something done, then that's what it fucking takes. And I'm not sorry. So yeah, if that's what it takes, that's what I'm gonna do. Because I'm sick and tired of people in my little ass fuck ass town not understanding that the work atmosphere and environment has changed and it will continue to change. And people like me will not stand up for the bullshit that they've been trying to sweep under the rug for the past 50 fucking years. And I'm sick of also trying to be treated as the problem. Okay, when I worked at Goodwill, the managers would sit in the office and laugh at people on the cameras all day. When I worked at the movie theater, our manager compared herself to a Nazi. Hello? When I worked at CVS, I had to deal with racist and ageist customers and coworkers. When I worked at Marshall's, I had to take a coworker to court. I had to call the police and take her to court for harassment. And now you expect me, at my fifth job in this godforsaken fucking town, you expect me to just let sexual harassment slide? What are you smoking? It has to be Xanax or something, because how can... Oh my god, guys, I don't understand. If I have to start like the next Me Too movement at my job, I have no issues doing that. Like, I have no issue doing that at all. I'm sorry. I like my job. It's a good job. Good benefits, good pay. But I'm not gonna stand for that shit, that's for sure. I refuse to just stand here while these fucking creeps get nothing but a little... Don't do it again. Don't do it again. Because what is it gonna take? What is it gonna take? For them to do this stuff to a child? Like, what is it gonna take for there to be actual action and actual change? Hmm? So yeah, that's my work update. So yeah, you know, just work things. Just work things. And it's so funny because literally in last week's episode with Hannah, I was like, oh my gosh, like, yes, work for a school district, yeah. If this is how school districts... You're a school district! You are a school district. Like, what? Like, literally what? And my boss's solution was, oh, on April 13th, there's a class you can take to get licensed in this thing so that you have more control over who you'll work with in the future. Hey, in this class that's a week after the events that are about to take place, on a Saturday, you can take this class to get licensed in this thing that will not help you in the time that you need it to help you, but it'll help us because then you'll be more available for us to use, is what I got from that. And she ended that message with just a thought. Don't do it again. Don't have a thought again. Don't. I'm begging you. Do not have a thought again. Seriously. But yeah, guys, other than that, I know my last little update vent video was kind of a downer. I appreciate all the love and messages that I received after that video. I'm glad, not that some of you could relate, but that I could help you feel less alone with those feelings, if that makes sense. But yeah, I'm really happy with the community we're building here. I'm really happy that my voice is able to give you guys some sort of comfort and relatability, because that's all I want. That's literally all I want from this. The subscribers are going up, which is nice, but also kind of scary because it's like, wow, like real life people are seeing and hearing me. And sometimes I sound a mess and sometimes I look a mess, but you know, we're here for a good time, not a long time. And yeah, I don't know, just keep watching. Even if you don't watch, I'll still be posting. I still will be talking my shit. I feel like my life, there's never a dull moment in my life for me to not have to have a video, you know? Or not that I have to have a video, but for me to not be able to produce content for a video, if that makes sense. But yeah, guys, I don't know, since that video, I've kind of been on an incline, I'm not gonna lie. Things are better. Things are a lot better, actually. Um, I think it took that video for me to put myself and my life into perspective and focus on what I want to change and actually make the efforts to make the changes. So yeah, I told myself I wanted a car. I got my car. I told myself I want to make more money, and I'm making more money. I mean, I got a raise and I didn't even know it. I've been doing like little extra things at work, which have made my last few checks like really good. Um, yeah, I don't know. I think my next obstacle would probably be just like my self-esteem in a way. I mean, for the most part, I'm like, yeah, like she's cute. But there are my days where I look in the mirror and I'm like, literally, who is this? Like, literally, who is this? But yeah, I think that's my next obstacle to face. I also know I need to get into therapy. Um, I'm not diagnosed with anything, but currently I know for a fact I have BPD. Cause every test I take it's like basically flashing like you have this, you know what I mean? So yeah, I think it would be good to have a diagnosis only so I know what to focus on, but also I just need therapy in general, man. I mean, I have so much like trauma, I guess you could say, that I have to unpack in myself to be a better person and to take me to the next levels I want to see myself at. But yeah, I mean, other than that, I think things are going really good. Knock on wood. Knock on wood. Things are going pretty good. I think it also helps that I'm focusing more of living in the moment. I don't really I used to be a really big planner, like really, really big. And there's some things that I'm like, yeah, tell me about this like in advance. But for the most part, I am kind of just been on the fly with things, and I think I've learned to just be on the fly with things and not have to plan things so intensely. But yeah, man, I think I'm doing really good. I'm really proud of how far I've come at this age and in this year. I mean, we're almost what, 4 weeks? 4 weeks. We're almost 4 months into the year, and I think I've made a lot of progress in myself and in my life than I have in previous years. And I love that for myself. I'm so proud of myself, and I wish that for all of you. I hope 2024 is or continues to be a very fruitful year, a year full of abundance for all of us. I know we are living in very, very scary times right now. But I hope that all of you who continue to show me love and support get the same love and support back in your life, times 10 even. But yeah, man, let's just keep focusing on yourself. I mean, I think this is a year to really just be selfish. If you have goals, if you have dreams, do it, work for it, work towards it. I mean, yes, we're young and it's cool to have fun and go out and get drunk, but at the same time, don't let that derail you from who and what you want to be and what you want out of this life, man. Like, this is the year we got to really apply ourselves. Let's get our shit done. And yeah, I don't know. This year is really scary. I mean, have you guys watched Quiet on Set? I watched it on Twitter because I don't have HBO Max, and that is so fucked up. And the way that everything currently is crumbling in Hollywood is so fucking scary, but at the same time, I think it's about damn time. Like, all of this has been going on for longer than most of us have probably been alive, even. And I am living to see everything crumble only because I think it's been time for these people to be taken accountable and made accountable and go to fucking prison, which who even knows if these people will go to prison, but prison, man, let's start sending them in boatloads. I mean, these celebrities are fucking insane. And Hollywood, I feel like, has always just been. I think Hollywood is very, what is the word? Romanticized, but there's always, at least to me, there's always been an energy, an aura, a vibe about Hollywood and kind of California in general that's very like ominous and scary and almost like a veil over it, if that makes sense. I don't know. But yeah, the crumble of Hollywood. I mean, Mac Miller said it. God damn, how the mighty will fall. They're falling, and they're falling hard. And I'm sad that he's not here to see it, but it's about fucking time. It's about time, honestly. Um, yeah, now I'm just kind of ranting. But that's me. Oh, next weekend, or this weekend as you're watching this. I'm filming this on the Thursday, but next weekend, I have a school dance. I'm 22 years old and going to a school dance with my little cousins. It's their VIP and me, like, end of school year dance, and they chose me to be their VIP. Well, one of my little cousins chose me to be her VIP, and another one of my little cousins chose Michelle to be her VIP. So we get to dress up, and their theme is Candy or Candyland. So Michelle and I are gonna wear orange and brown and be Reese's. Um, and yeah, we're gonna go to a little school dance and have pizza, and we're gonna make them like little corsages. Cause I was gonna buy them, but they're like fucking $30 to $50, and like I love them, but like, I mean, they're kids. They're gonna be like dancing and waving around. They're not gonna last long enough for me to pay $50 for 3 corsages. Like, you're smoking dick. And yeah, going to a little dance. I got my outfit. I got my little cousin's outfit. I bought them little like candy jewelry off Children's Place. It's gonna be great. It's gonna be a good time. My little cousins are ready. Like, they're treating this like we're going to the club. And it's from 6 p.m. It starts at 6 p.m. and it's only like 2 hours long. Like, but they're like, yeah, we're gonna get crazy. We're gonna get wild. Okay, let's get wild in the school gym then, girl. Let's do our thing. But yeah, guys, that's me. That's my little update, my little video. I feel like solo episodes aren't really ever that long, only because I really could sit here and just talk about like everything, but that can also just be a lot. So I think my solo episodes, unless I have like a really, really like topic driven episode, I think I'll just do little updates. Um, yeah. Let me know what you've been thinking about our guest episodes. Comment below who you would like to see in the future or who you would like to see come back. Let me know if there's any topics or anything you ever want us to bring up. You can follow the Diving Deep with Des Instagram. I always am putting up little questions and polls on the Instagram stories of that, and just asking, what you guys want to see, what you want to hear, who you want to see. Like, yes, this is for me, but I also want you guys to enjoy the episodes. So I'm always asking for feedback and input, and I want to deliver something that we can all enjoy and we can all be proud of. We can all be proud of. But yeah, I think that is all I have for this week's episode of Diving Deep. So yeah, like, comment, subscribe, share with your besties, turn on those post notifications, and I'll see you next week on another episode of Diving Deep with me, Des. Bye, guys.